Welcome to the Intuitive Hour with psychic medium, author, and intuitive life coach, Michelle Beltran. The Intuitive Hour will empower you to learn how to magnify your intuitive voice. Listen in and expand your understanding of what it means to be psychic and how to awaken, amplify, and trust your inner voice.
Greetings and welcome. This is the Intuitive Hour, Awaken Your Inner Voice, and I'm your host, Michelle Beltran. Thank you everyone for carving out this time with me today. All right, I hope you have enjoyed the last 4 weeks of the best of the Intuitive Hour. I like to do that for you from time to time and as it's requested. Okay, we're here today. We've got 3 topics on tap. Working with challenging clients is first and foremost. All right. Reading a client before the reading. Absolutely, yes, this can be done. So take some time now to think about different ways that you might read a client. It can be done with your client in the present, shortly before the session, or while they are completely distant from you. All are options. Oftentimes, I'll meditate before a reading to get information and then share that with the client as they come into session. If it is a highly charged session, especially, I'll begin to receive impressions, data, information through all of my clairs: sight, smell, taste, sound. As that comes in a meditative space before the session, I'll make note and jot those things down. I know that they are priority, and we get to them first. Now, during this meditation before the session, I get a feel for who is around. Is it spirit? Is it a spirit guide? I try to get as much detail as possible. You'll want to, of course, do the same. If, for example, you're interacting with a spirit who has dropped in to say hello or send some messages, you want to probe that, interrogate, so to speak. I like to say, ask questions of that spirit. I might ask for a spokesperson to come forward or introduce me to loved ones, or to show me information that is most right for this client to know now. Other times I may not meditate, and you may not either. Begin the connection then as soon as you start the reading. That's all right. You've said your prayer of protection, you've connected with your client. If you've worked with me at any length here or listened to our previous episodes, you know how to put that all in place. Your reading will then, though, begin as soon as you meet and sit with your client. You'll find out which way works best for you. Both are fine. So as some homework for those of you working on readings and segueing into this, you might consider this week doing your readings both ways. If you get a feel for the client that it may be challenging, meditate before the session. If you know it's going to be highly charged for some reason, or subconsciously know, sit in meditation and take note. You might want to adopt this approach or not. Every session will be different. Every intuitive is different. All right, moving on to the topic of asking for clarification of information. During the context of a reading, oftentimes the information you receive is not immediately confirmed as significant or meaningful. This happens very often. It's quite normal. Other times, however, You aren't sure what you're seeing, feeling, hearing, or experiencing. When these situations arise, and they both will, you'll need to get clarification, either from spirit present, your spirit guides, the client's spirit guides, or any energy you sense as you're in the session. I recommend always begin by gaining clarification from the spirit or spirit guide that is present. You'll ask direct questions. Again, I call this an interrogation of sorts, a probing, if you will, of what's presenting. You do get to do that. You are in charge as you are leading this session. So, for example, a probing question might be, what is the significance of this information? Show me more about what you mean. Why are you showing this to me? I need more information. What are you showing me? Why is this significant, in essence? When you receive an answer, repeat what you get and give it directly to your client or readee as you're in the session. And then practice asking confirming questions without having the client reveal too much. Remember, it's your job to convey. So the probing is done of what you see, asking more clarifying questions. If you're using a reading screen and you see a heart and you don't know what it means, ask the heart to give you more information. I don't understand what you mean or the message. Show me more. All right, when you've received information that the client cannot understand and there is no further information coming, try then asking clarifying questions directly to your client. For example, I'm still seeing the red ball. Does the ball itself mean anything to you? Setting the color aside, does the ball mean anything to you? Or, I'm still seeing the red ball. Is the color red significant? Or, I'm still seeing you playing with the red ball at the beach with your grandfather. Is playing with your grandfather on the beach a memory that you might recall? Did you love to do this? Did he love to do this? Did he take you to the beach? Probing a little bit with questions, reminding them, showing them, and talking with them about what you're seeing specifically matters. Questions like this will help the client think more deeply about what you're seeing without you trying to interpret the image or symbolism. I can't express enough how often this happens. While we're in a session, a person will not remember the most obvious information. For example, I sat in a medium reading on one occasion, and the spirit coming through was her son who had passed of cancer, and he was indicating to me his nickname, and she was not remembering it. Partially into the session, it just came to her, and she recalled. So whatever you're receiving, continue to probe and interrogate and give as much information about what you're receiving, and then next go to the client and seek reminders of some way to sort of rattle their memory, if you will. Questions like this will help the client think more deeply about what you're seeing without you trying to interpret that image again, as mentioned earlier. All right, clarification often also arises with things like numbers, birthdays, ages, and anniversaries. Often you'll get months, days, or years in this way. Clients in this situation often have to really think about the significance of this information. Your job is to ask them clarifying questions, again, without asking for too much, to help them decipher what the number or date means. And of course, you can always ask your spirit guides to clarify. When you do this and are given an answer, sometimes it's best not to just give that answer immediately to the client. You'll discern that choice at that moment. Other times it may be a good idea. This is something you'll have to learn as you move forward, and you'll get a better feel for as you improve and get better. An example: if you receive the number 55, that could be a year, an age, or even a number on a jersey, for example, on a sports jersey. If you ask Spirit and get information that clarifies this, you may want to first see if the client can get the answer, if they understand it. But if they can't, you can sometimes ask whether it is a year or an age, knowing that your spirit guide has confirmed already it is one or another or the other. Giving the client a choice of possibilities often helps them zero in on the answer. All right, as homework today, I want to ask you to practice asking clarifying questions in a session with your own spirit guide. Ask your guide to give you some information that is a date or age of someone. Ask for something significant but not obvious, and let your guide give you a number. Then, work with your guide to clarify this information until you understand the significance and the validity of it. Ask your guide to confirm you got it right. You might also practice this in a session with a client, paying particular attention to getting clarifications first from your spirit guides and then asking the client questions to help them confirm the answer you received without just telling them the answer. All right, we will bring this episode to a close. Thank you all for being with me here today. For any questions or comments, please reach out at mbeltran@michellebeltran.com. I look forward to seeing you all here next week.
Thanks for listening to the Intuitive Hour with Michelle Beltran. If you like what you heard, please share our podcast with a friend, and be sure to visit michellebeltran.com to get Michelle's popular Develop Your Clairvoyance ebook.